let's get started. Take a comfortable seat. I just have my blocks with me this morning. That'll be more than enough for today's class. So find your comfortable seat and just notice if the spine is leaning forward or back, if you're leaning a little heavier into your left side or your right side. Just find a way to balance out your seat so the left and right sit bone feel even. And we're not slouching backwards or hyperextending the spine forwards, but the spine just feels upright and tall. And from that place, the shoulders can relax down the back. The left and right sides of your neck can relax. And the jaw joint can soften inside of your mouth. Your tongue can relax inside of your mouth. So we're just going to begin with a few upper body stretches, and what this will do is stretch out the muscles around our lungs. At least those of us in Hawaii, it's still early morning. I know some of you are joining from the mainland, but if we haven't moved around much yet, it'll feel better to breathe if we stretch out around the lungs. So we'll just do that in a really simple way. On an inhale, reach your arms up overhead. You can interlace your fingers and push your palms to the sky, and then draw your shoulders way back. Push the palms up. Take a big inhale breath here, like you probably do this when you wake up in the morning anyway. Big breath. Good, and then as you exhale, push your hands straight forward. Round your spine back. I'll show you that from the side. Round your spine back, drop your forehead in towards your belly. Good, and we'll do that 2 more times. So inhale, lift up. We'll arch the spine, lean back, push the palms to the sky. So suggestion to smile here, suggestion to look up, all those things feeling energizing. And then exhale, press the palms forward, round your spine back. Okay, do that 1 more time on your own breath. Yeah, feel the shoulder girdle start to stretch. Hear the shoulder blades slide away from one another on your back. Good, and we'll inhale, come back to a neutral seat. From here, you can take one hand to the floor, doesn't matter which, and we'll lean laterally over to this side. Good, so you can look up underneath that open top arm. Let that same hip really settle down into the floor. Feel the rib cage broad and open. Again, anytime the gaze is upward, that's going to feel a little more energizing. You could also do these first poses with the eyes closed. And then on your inhale breath, reach both arms up overhead, palms face the sky. If the neck is comfortable to look up for a moment. And then we'll switch opposite hand to the ground, leaning to that side. And let that open side hip really drop into your block. Turn the rib cage open, look up underneath that arm, big inhale breath. Again, these first poses to stretch out the musculature around the lungs. Good. On our inhale, reach arms up overhead. And on your exhale, pull your hands back down through your heart. Good. I'll show you from the side again. Take your fingertips behind you on your mat and press down. Lift the chest forward and up. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another on your back. Feel the pectoral muscles, front of your chest stretching open. Good. Again, opening from the pubic bone to the sternum bone, full front body opening, spinal extension. 1 more breath. Good. And then on an inhale, reach both arms again up overhead. Now as you exhale, we'll twist to one side. You can take hand to your knee. Your other hand can go behind you on the floor. We'll look over that back shoulder. Big inhale, big exhale. Again, again, we're going to focus a little more on our inhale for today's class, right? Kind of exaggerating or emphasizing the energizing portion of our breath. So can you feel your inhale fill up the little spaces between your rib cage? And then of course as you exhale, emptying out the lungs, might take your twist a little deeper. Good. Next inhale breath, arms up overhead. Good. Again, anytime the arms are up, we can look up to feel a little more energized, a little more awake. And then exhale, other side. Good. So you'll stay in that twist just a little longer. Feel your inhale breaths really fill up in between the ribs. Good. And when every time you exhale, squeeze your belly a little bit so the twist deepens. Look all the way back over your shoulder. Good. And then we're going to come through center. We're just going to take a quick breathing exercise. You can let your hands rest on your lap. What we're going to do is put 3 pauses in our breath. So we're going to inhale about 1/3 of the way full, take a pause. Inhale lungs 2/3 of the way full, pause. And then inhale all the way full, pause at the top, and exhale 1 deep breath. We'll do 3 rounds. Okay, so we'll link up our breath. We'll join up together, taking an exhale, full exhale. Inhale 1/3 of your breath full. Pause. 2/3. Pause. Inhale to your all the way full breath at the top, comfortable pause. When you need to, 1 big exhale. Let's try that again. Inhale about 1/3 of your lungs full. Pause. 2/3. Pause. Breath all the way full, pausing at the top. In that pause, try to relax body and mind as much as you can. Exhale when you need to. Good, and we'll do that 1 more time. Inhale, breath 1/3 of the way full. 2/3. Full breath. Pause, relax in the pause. Try to quiet the mind to 1 still point. Exhale when you need to. Good. Okay, and from here we'll come to lie down on our back. Pull your knees into your chest. I'm just going to adjust something over here, so excuse me being off my mat. Okay, so on our back we're going to pull knees into our chest. Rock a little bit left to right on your back, just massaging back muscles. You could take your knees a little bit wider on your back if you wanted to rock side to side. Good. And then we're going to place our feet to the floor and interlace your fingers. Put your hands behind your head. Push your low back into the ground and we're going to lift up. Okay, so head is up. Press your low back into the floor. Now take your feet about hips width apart on the ground and squeeze your knees together. Okay, so knees together, feet on the ground and a little bit wide. Lift your right leg up. As you do that, can you keep your knees together? Okay, bring that right foot back down and we'll switch. Left leg up. Push your low back into the floor. Good, so right foot's on the ground, left leg is up. Good, bring that leg down, switch. Okay, so I'm hugging my knees into one another, pushing my low back into the floor. Okay, and then switch. Good, we'll try a few more. Left leg down, right leg up. Switch. Good, try to lift the bottom tips of your shoulder blades up off the floor. That makes it pretty hard. Switch. Good, switch. Switch. Okay, we're going to add a few more. So instead of switching by taking a leg down, now we're going to switch by taking both legs up. Okay, and then switch. Good. Up, switch. Good. Up, switch. Does anybody have the bottom tips of their shoulder blades up off the ground? Up, switch. 3 more. Up, switch. Good. Up, switch. Last one. Up, hold. Lift a little higher. Good. Draw your knees into your chest. Whew. Good job. Take your knees to the ground on your right side. Stretch your left arm out. Okay, so twist, lying down. Big breath in here. Big exhale. Big breath in. Big exhale. Good. Bring your knees to center. Drop your knees off to the other side. So knees to the left, right arm out. You can look out over your right arm. Breathe here. Good. Draw your knees back up to center. We're going to do a little bit more core work to either side. Draw your left knee in towards your chest. Kick your right leg forward. So really important, we have the low back on the ground here. I'm going to hold my head with my left hand. Okay, so left hand to head. I'm going to reach my right arm outside of my knee. Okay, so it's a little bit of a lateral core work. I'm reaching to the side, activating oblique muscles, side belly muscles. Good. Come through center, knees over hips. Okay, and then switch. Right knee in, left arm out. Good. Come to center, lift up, and switch. Good. Your inhale can be at the center, and your exhale to the side. Good. Inhale to center, exhale to the side. Breathe. Good. We'll go for 10 more. 10. Good. Center, 9. Good. Center, 8. Center, 7. Good. Center for 6. Exhale. Okay. Center, 5. Good. 4. Inhale. Exhale. 3. I think I missed one. 2. Good. 1. Nice. Rest any way you want to. You can plop your feet on the floor, let your knees fall together, let the arms stretch out to the side. Notice if your body's a little warmer now as we've worked some muscles. Good. We're going to draw our knees into our chest, and now we're going to rock the length of our mat. So up towards the hips, and then as you rock back, either right onto your back, or if you wanted to rock further, you could rock with your feet up overhead. Okay, so little baby rocks, or maybe they're bigger. Leaving that up to you, but again, you're kind of waking up the body. Okay, last one here. We're going to reach back and then come forward, cross your ankles, place your hands to the floor, and we're going to step back to a plank pose. So I said I'd give alternate versions in this class. You could take a plank pose. You could also drop your knees down for a half plank pose. Okay, we're going to draw the belly in and then start to bend your elbows slowly. Come to about a half push-up. Elbows or shoulders as high as elbows, and then press back up. Okay, so now really move your breath. Exhale, lower to a low push-up, shoulders, elbow height. Exhale, and inhale. Good, so getting muscles turned on through the shoulders and shoulder girdle. Exhale, lower. Good, inhale up. Nice, and then shift back to a child's pose. You can take your knees nice and wide on your mat for this. Let your belly soften down in between the legs. Feel free to move around in your child's pose in any way that feels good. Maybe a little lateral movement. Maybe some twists, turning the chest a little bit to either side. Good. Okay, from here we're going to press our palms to the floor, tuck your toes. We'll lift up and back for our downward facing dog. You can pedal your feet on the ground here. So stretching through the plantar fascia, the toes, the bottoms of our feet, and then our Achilles and calf as we stretch heels to the ground. Good. Really draw your shoulder blades down your back towards your waist. Nice. And on our inhale, we're going to come all the way forward again to a plank. Remember, your knees could be up or down, and as you exhale, we'll lower all the way to the floor. Good. So now press hands down. We're going to lift our chest a little bit and pull the heart forward, and then place your elbows to the floor underneath your shoulders for a Sphinx pose. So do keep the tailbone anchoring towards the ground here. Good. We're going to look just straight forward. Try to pull the shoulders onto the back and down. You'll pull your elbows towards your waist. Hopefully they're not moving because they're rooted on your sticky mat, but that should feel like it pulls your chest forward. Good. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths into your open cobra chest. So a thoracic breath is forced here due to the position of the body. So really feel the upper thoracic and the rib cage filling up with big inhales. Good. Now we'll lift the elbows and set yourself down on the low rib cage. Point your toes back. If it's okay for your low back to lift your feet up here, we'll lift the feet. And then reach your arms back too. So Shalavasana, back body work. Good. Try not to crane your neck up here, so chin is kind of tucked or down and in line. The very crown of the head is what's reaching up. Engage the glutes, hamstrings, back body muscles for one more breath. Good. As we exhale, we'll lower down. Okay, we're going to do that in a few different ways. Now take your arms straight out to the sides. Okay, so arms reaching out to a T, out from the shoulders. Tuck your tailbone here. Okay, now start to lift up, lift the feet. You can bring your fingertips to the floor. This is a little easier. If you're feeling strong, you could reach your arms up and straight out to the sides. Okay, so another back body strengthening pose, breathing. Good, feel your back body firing up, strengthening. Good, exhale, lower it down. Okay, we're going to do one more version of this pose. Should be the hardest one yet. If it's not comfortable for your back to reach your arms forward, your arms can reach back, just like the first version. Okay, so take arms forward. Anchor your tailbone a lot for this one. Reach your feet up. Okay, you can pull the hands in and lift the chest up. And if the strength is there, lift arms and feet up off the floor. So full Shalavasana pose. This does put more strain on the low back, so if it's uncomfortable, reach your arms back. Okay, if they're okay forward, we'll hold for 3. Make sure you're breathing. 2, 1. Nice. Place your hands by the sides. You can lift up to a baby cobra, some of you an upward facing dog. Good. And again, here, can you turn your gaze just slightly upward? Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Energizing inhale. Good. As we exhale, your choice, child's pose, some of us, downward facing dog, others of us will take 3 to 5 breaths. Good. So if you were a child's pose yogi right there like me, we'll come on up. We're going to lift the hips up and back for our down dog. Okay, so all of us meeting here, and then we're going to walk our way forward towards the top of our mat. Good. On an inhale, we'll lift up halfway. If you have your blocks, this is a good place for blocks. Okay, if you don't have blocks, you can press your shins or the floor if you're really flexible, halfway lift. And as you exhale, we'll fold. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times with our breath. Inhale, fingertips to shins or blocks or floor, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Good, one more time, halfway lift. It's okay to bend the knees if the hamstrings are on the tighter side. If you're really flexible, try to tuck your sitting bones towards your heels a little more. Good, fold. Okay, we'll press through our feet. On an inhale, reach all the way up to the sky. Really pull the belly in here, lift up. You might even extend through the back, arching slightly. Maybe you look up. And on our exhale, we'll bring our hands to our heart. We're going to do a lunge salutation on each side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Big breath, like you're gathering energy as you reach the arms up. And then as we exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Okay, on our inhale, halfway lifting up. We're going to bend our knees, place fingertips down, step your left foot back. Okay, so two choices for this lunge. Back knee can drop down, right? Slightly easier. We'll reach the arms up. Those of you ready to bomb your practice this morning, maybe you keep that back knee up, okay, for a lifted lunge. So again, two choices, back knee down or back knee up. Settle your shoulders down your back, let the heart lift. You might even tip your gaze slightly upward, big energizing breath. Notice if your hands are really tense, could you soften the fingertips a little? And on our exhale, we're going to touch the floor. We're going to step back to a plank pose. Remember, option for knees down, plank pose, toe in the belly, and lower. Inhale, cobra. Good. On your exhale, we'll go right to downward facing dog because we'll keep moving. Inhale here. Exhale, root your heels towards the ground. Inhale. And on your exhale, walk, run, or jump top of your mat. Halfway lift, press off shins or your blocks. And exhale, fold. Good. Press through the feet, rise up, breathing and lift. Hands to your heart as you exhale. Take one breath. And reach up on an inhale. Good, so big energizing breath. Reach towards the sky, lift up, maybe even arch your back, and then exhale, forward fold all the way down. Good, on your inhale breath, halfway lift, press off shins or blocks. And touch the floor, step your right foot back. Again, you choose, back knee can go down, or back knee can stay up for a lunge. Inhale, lift the arms. So either version of this pose, tuck your tailbone down, lift the sternum to the sky. Really important in these extended postures, right? Extension is like a back bend in yoga. Keep your low belly really activated. That's going to keep our low back feeling safe right now and over time. Good. Exhale, touch it down. We're stepping back to a plank pose or a knees down plank pose. On your exhale, lower. Inhale to a cobra, or maybe hips up off the ground this time for an upward facing dog, up to you. Bend your elbows, draw them towards the waist, lift. Good, exhale, downward dog. Good, so press your left foot into the floor, maybe set that slightly more medial towards the midline, and lift your right leg up and back. Good, here open your right hip. You can look underneath that right arm. Good, really anchor the shoulder blades on your back, and then we'll take right hip circle 2 times. Good, bend your knee, make a big circle with that right hip. How about one more? Nice. Okay, again, you can do this from plank. Okay, so we're going to come forward to plank, or we're going to come to take that back knee down. Okay, so I'm going to extend my right leg, and on an exhale, I'm going to bring my elbow to my knee, or my elbow to my shoulder on the right side. Again, if you're really working hard, you could do that from plank pose and extend. Okay, 2 more. Knee to shoulder, right side. I'm going to take my knee down. Extend. Knee to right side. Good. Kick the right leg straight back. Either you're in plank or table. And then we're going to step our right foot through, top of the mat. Okay, so take a lunge here. Again, since some of us are at home, we're all at home, you could keep your back knee down. You could also ramp up this pose by lifting your back knee up. So I'm going to demonstrate the easier poses today. Okay. With my left leg back, I'm going to grab my right hip with my right hand, lift that left arm up, and I'm going to lean to the right. Good, so squeeze your inner thighs towards center. Feel like as you hug into the midline, you can lift up. Okay, and we're leaning to the right side. Maybe even turn your gaze up underneath that left arm. Okay, keep the low belly toned. Deep three-dimensional breaths. Okay, on our inhale, we'll reach both arms up towards the sky. Okay, again, your back knee could be lifted for this whole sequence. We're going to tuck the tailbone down and start to lift through the chest. Okay, I will usually bend my back knee in this pose to give my lumbar spine a little more space. If you're very flexible, that back leg could straighten. Good, one more breath here. And on our exhale, we'll touch down to the floor. We're going to step that right leg back. Okay, so plank pose all the way up for everyone. And then we're going to drop our right knee to the floor. Okay, so my left leg is straight, right knee down. I'm going to swing my right foot out to the side and place my left foot to the floor. So I'm moving towards a supported side plank. Good. So plenty of you longtime yogis, maybe you want to extend both legs and work a full side plank. Again, that's really great core work for the side body. A bunch of us will probably keep that bottom knee down. Okay, I'm going to look up here. Again, anytime we're looking up, that gaze is said to be energizing. Check it out for yourself, see how you feel. Good. We're going to take a few arm circles on this left arm, so reach that arm over your ear. Okay, full rotation of that shoulder joint down towards the ground, and then up. Okay, so all the way sweeping across your body towards the floor, up, breathe. Follow your fingertips with your hand. Good, one more. At the end of this last one, you can reach that arm over your ear, extend your left side body, heel to fingertips, stretch it out. Good, and then turn back to the ground. And we're going to tuck our toes underneath, if that's okay, and sit back to the heels. Okay, so instead of a downward facing dog here, we're going to take a toe stretch. If that's uncomfortable, you could set your feet out and just sit down. If you have a block at home, you could sit on a block. Okay, so notice the difference in left side body versus right side body. The left side might feel way more open after that sequence. Take one more breath. Good. On an inhale, reach your arms up and then lift up to the knees. Okay, we can take a little extension here. Again, keep your belly toned like a high camel. And then as we exhale, touch your hands to the floor. Tuck your toes, down dog. Let your right foot set a little bit more towards the middle of your mat, and then lift your left leg up and back. Here we're going to open that left hip, look underneath your left arm. Try to balance the weight in the shoulders and the hands. So there's even press in the hands, even action in the shoulders. And then circle that left hip a couple times. Good. Okay. So some of us will shift forward to plank. Again, this will be a pretty challenging version of this. A bunch of us will drop our right knee to the floor. And I'm going to bend my left knee and tap it to my left shoulder, squeezing in side core active. Good. On our inhale, extending left leg back. Exhale, drawing it in. Yeah, feel your side belly muscles. All right, inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it back. Good. Okay, kick that leg back. And then draw it straight through the center. Take your foot to the floor, and we have lunge pose. Good. Here on your inhale, arms up. Okay, so our two choices, back knee up and off the ground, high lunge. Okay, back knee down for some of us, low lunge. I'm going to take my left hand to left hip. Okay, draw the belly in, tone the low core, and then lean to the left side. I'm going to show you this from the front. Okay, so it looks like this. Yeah, so I'm really going to gather my pubic bone in and up and engage the belly, and then lean to the left. Okay, so it's a nice opening for the lateral side body and for the psoas. So it's a big psoas opening laterally. If I let my hips sink forward, I'm getting psoas extension and lateral bend. Good. Engage your inner thighs towards center. Take one more breath here. And then on an inhale, reach your arms up. Good. We'll stay here one more moment for some spinal extension. Tuck your tailbone down, engage the belly so you can lift up and lean back. As we do that though, let your shoulder blades slide down the back. I suggest smiling in this pose. Good, and on an exhale, touch down to the floor. Okay, and again, we'll step back to our knees. Okay, for either toes tucked under, right, for a toe stand or a really big toe stretch. We're going to come back to a half plank. I'm going to go from this side. Okay, so let's kick our legs up for a full plank pose. Okay, drop your left knee to the floor. Okay, and then spin your left toes out to the side. Okay, now stack up your right foot, left knee, left hand, and take the right arm up. Nice. That's it. So you can look up here, and then we're going to start to make big arm circles. Follow your fingertips with your gaze. So as you reach forward, you look forward towards your hand, down to the floor. Good. Inhale up and over. You can really arch the top side of the body towards the sky as you stretch here. You can really make this your own. So rotating that shoulder joint in all directions. It's our most mobile joint in the body. Try to match that movement with your breath. And eventually we're going to settle that arm overhead. Turn your top palm to the floor. Okay, draw the right shoulder blade down the back. Good, reach through your heel, extend those fingertips. Yeah, really big lateral stretch. If you want to look up here, again, that's always going to be a slightly more energizing gaze. Good, and then we'll turn back to the floor. Okay. From there, you'll stretch out to downward facing dog. Good, and really take a moment in your down dog to feel symmetrical in either side of the spine. Good, so feel the left side of your spine lengthen, right side of your spine, and try to bring a sense of balance. Good, we're going to walk our way up, top of our yoga mat. Take a halfway lift, inhale, shoulders shrug away from the ears. Big fold as you exhale. You might even grab your calves or ankles here and tug in a little tighter. Good, and then from here, we're going to bend our knees, okay, so squatting into a chair pose, okay. Draw your belly in and on an inhale, reach the arms up. If this gets to be a lot for the shoulders, you could definitely bend your elbows, okay. That would look like this. I call that Cactus Pose. You can keep the arms extended up overhead. Good, we're going to get a little more active through the legs now. Tone the belly in, tailbone down, take 2 or 3 breaths, maybe even shifting the gaze towards upwards, right? Tops of the eyes for 3. Sit a little lower, 2, 1, press to stand. As you exhale, hands to heart. Good, take a deep breath, let your heart rate slow down, let your mind slow down, let the body soften. Notice how you're breathing now. Notice the ease in which breath enters and expands and fills the lungs. So we're going to shift our weight into our right foot, lift the left knee. Okay, and then bend the right foot, send that left leg back, toe down, tap your heel down. Good. So we're going to take warrior two pose here and extend the arms. Good. Make sure the feet aren't too wide. That front knee is going to be right over the ankle. Okay, and we're pressing down on the outer edge of the back foot. Okay, we're going to take a flow here, different pose for your inhale and your exhale. So as we inhale, we're going to lean back. Take your left hand to your left leg. Again, a little energizing sequence. We reach up, we look up. And as we exhale, lean forward, elbow to knee. Okay, left arm over the ear, extending forward, Parsva Konasana. Good. Now let's try to do that with our breath. Press your feet down, inhale up and back. When your exhale comes, elbow to knee, lean forward. Okay, so do two more of those at the pace of your own breath. I'll do them with you, but I'll stop talking. Nice. Coming out of this pose, I'm going to turn my left hand to the floor, right hand to the floor. I'm going to pick up my left heel for a lunge. Okay, here we're going to step back to a plank pose. You can always put your knees down and then lower. And inhale to a little cobra. Upward facing dog if you'd rather. Draw the sternum bone, chest forward. And as we exhale, I'm going to lower down to the ground. Good. Here, I'm going to interlace hands behind. I'm going to stretch my knuckles back, opening the chest a little more with Shalavasana. Reach your toes back, reach your knuckles back, breathe. Right, so these poses are back body strengthening, right? They strengthen our postural muscles. Probably good while we're all hunched over our phones and computers 18 hours a day right now. Hopefully that's not what you're doing. Right? But activating back body muscles, they're good for the spine, good for our posture. Good. Opening through the chest, stretch the knuckles back, one more breath. Good. Place your hands by your sides. Take an inhale, again, heart open. Exhale, you choose, child's pose or downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Okay, let's come up to downward facing dog if we're not there. I'm going to show you an odd pose. So we're going to grab the outer edges of our yoga mat. So I literally have my hand gripped around my yoga mat, okay, on either side. Then I'm going to lift up and back towards a down dog, and I'm going to take my feet on the edges of my mat. Okay, so feet are wide. Now I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to try to keep my knees open as wide as my ankles. Good. Grip your mat, push the front of your mat forward. Let your belly melt towards your thighs. Keep your knees pulling open, about ankle width apart, and then breathe. I learned this pose as frog dog. Grip your mat, big shoulder opener. Nice. We'll bring the feet back to center. You can place your hands, walk your way up top of your mat. I'm going to make this the top of my mat. Okay, halfway lift. As we exhale, fold. Good. Bend your knees. Okay. Reach the arms up and over, chair pose. Okay. Again, if the shoulders are tired, you could hold your hips. You could take your arms to cactus pose. If you're feeling really strong still, feel free to reach the arms up, tone your belly. Good. When we work the quad muscles, the body really starts to heat up. So notice the temperature rise as we stay here, one more breath. Good, press to standing, reach up, arms up, look up. Hands to heart, bring it back to center. Good, take a moment to just notice how your body feels, notice how your mind feels. I'm probably preaching to the choir with you guys, but some sort of movement activity first thing in the morning is so good. Right, it wakes up our body. We'll probably be a little mentally clearer as we move through our day due to all the deep breathing. One more breath. Okay, so root your left foot down, right foot up. Good, step your right foot back, wide stance. Okay, toe touches down, heel touches down, open up for warrior two. Front to back, your feet line up. Squeeze your feet towards one another, activating the inner thighs. Point your front knee over your mid-toes, knee straight up and down over the ankle for warrior two. We'll float the arms up. Good, root down into the outer edge of the back foot, and we're going to do this same vinyasa krama, right? So something for the inhale, something for the exhale. Okay, so we'll exhale here together. Inhale, breath, exalted warrior, lean back. Okay, again, heart facing skyward, face up, gaze up. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Extend that top arm over. Good, side body stretch. Good, on our inhale, up and back. Good, not collapsing the low back, low belly is strong. Exhale, elbow to knee, Parsvottanasana. Good. Again, two more. Go on your breath, right? So you're moving with your own breath length. Good. Turn that top palm here, right palm to face the ground. Reach that arm over the ear. That's it. Good. One more. Nice. Here we're going to turn our right hand to the floor. You're going to pick your left heel up in a lunge and then step 2 feet back. Good. Lower all the way down to your belly. Good. And so here I'm going to give 2 options for a pose again. So a harder option this morning, will be the more challenging version, is going to be to grab our feet. Kick your feet back into your hands. It's called bow pose or Dhanurasana. It's like pulling a bow. My feet push back into my hands. We lift up into a back bend. So feel free to try that. Or again, the easier version will just be to take another Shalabhasana, chest opening, maybe hands interlaced, or maybe just arms reach back. Good, so choosing your pose here, we'll take a couple breaths. Notice the flow of your breath. As you inhale, you'll feel yourself rise. Everybody tucking tailbone a lot. Letting yourself flow with the ebb and flow of your breath. When you exhale, your body will soften. Good, let's release out of that. Bring your knees together on your mat. And sink back for a child's pose. We'll put our head on the floor and let your arms sweep backwards. Good. Bring everything down for a few moments here. Deep exhales. Right, so these little moments of rest are for us to recover our breath. Okay. Nice. So from here we're going to come on up. If it's hard for you to stand on your knees on your yoga mat, you might fold your mat with a little fold like this. If you're at home and you have a pillow or a blanket, you could put something underneath your knees, like a pillow or a blanket. Okay, and I'm going to kneel on something comfy. I'm going to tuck my toes behind. Okay, so first principle of this pose, Camel Pose, is that I'm going to lift my pubic bone up towards my belly button. So tailbone down, But another way, instead of just saying tailbone down and gripping my butt, I want to activate rectus abdominis. I want to engage my belly muscles. So use your belly muscles to lift the front of your pelvis up. Squeeze the belly. Okay, I'm going to take hands to my hips here. Keep the belly engaged. That's the hardest part. And then start to lift the heart up and back. Right? My most recent teacher calls these poses up bends instead of back bends. Right? I'm thinking about lifting towards the sky first. Going back is just a function of being able to lift up enough. Okay, so here, taking camel pose with hips, and then we're going to do a little backstroke. So you might keep your chin in towards the chest, and I'm going to backstroke with my arm. More advanced or more flexible, maybe you backstroke to your feet. Okay, so each arm in its backstroke might reach all the way back towards your feet. Okay, a bunch of us will keep hands on hips. And as we backstroke, we'll just do that with our hands on our hips. Again, big shoulder opening, core work as we keep the belly engaged. Good. Take one more backstroke on each side. Good. And then we're going to hold our pose a moment. Hug your inner thighs towards center a lot. Feel like you're squeezing your legs in. Activate your belly muscles, either holding your hips or hands to heels. We'll take a few breaths, camel pose. Good. So you can bring hands back up to hips, stand up. If you want to work harder, really engage the belly, maybe hands come to heart before we lift. Good, and then we're just going to sit down and counter pose, sitting on the heels. Let your low back relax here. Start to draw your breath into the back of the lungs. Just using a neutral spine pose to counter our back bend first. Okay. If your mat's folded, you can release it. Okay. We're going to come to lie down on our back. Good. Hug your knees into your chest. So again, I'm going to offer a really mixed level option for the next poses here. We'll spend a moment releasing the back with the knees into the chest. And then I'll give out 3 options for this next pose. Of course, you're at home, so there's endless options, but I'll just make a few suggestions, okay? So from the most basic, we can grab a block if you have it. We'll place that block underneath the hips for a restorative version of bridge pose, right, if you want to keep it mellow this morning. So here's option 1. Option 2, press your feet down, full bridge pose. Okay, so here we'll push our palms into the floor. If the shoulder flexibility is there, you can interlace your hands behind your back. Don't fuss if that's hard for you. If that's a lot for your shoulders, just push your palms into the ground, okay, wherever they land. That's going to be good enough. Good. Those of you knowing Urdhva Dhanurasana or full wheel pose, I know some of you at home are raring for a strong practice. You can place your hands up over the head and lift up into full wheel. Good. Here too, just like camel pose, engage rectus abdominis. Draw your pubic bone towards your sternum bone. Engage the belly to give your low back space. Breathing. Good. Slowly exhale, we'll lower hips to the ground. Good. Draw your knees into your chest. I just want to say I'm so glad to be able to connect with you all this way while we're socially distancing, while we're mandated to stay at home. These classes brighten up my day, probably more than they brighten yours. So thank you so much for giving me the space and time to teach. It really feeds me. Okay, so we're going to take our right ankle to left knee. Okay, we'll get a little hip stretch because we haven't done much of it in this class. So thread the needle pose, right ankle to left knee. I'm going to thread my right arm through my legs. I'm going to grab my left thigh and draw in for a little hip stretch. So here's the time to start bringing it down. We did a lot of energizing poses today. I hope that sets up your day really nicely. But now it's time to deepen our exhales. Right, soften your jaw, soften the shoulders. Soften and slow down in the mind. So we're looking for a right hip stretch. Draw your toes towards your shin, right side. I'm going to release right side, reach arms up overhead on the ground. Set your feet on your mat as wide as your mat. We'll just wash out the hips with a windshield wiper. Okay. When you're ready, other side. Bring your left ankle to right knee. Thread your left hand in between the legs. Grab your right thigh. Okay. Pull the right thigh towards your chest. Okay, flex your toes to shin, left side. Good. And then settle into the pose. So see if you can find a place of physical stillness. Shoulders relax, jaw relaxes. At the end of my own yoga practices, towards the end, I like to really try to settle the mind. So I'll bring my body into more stillness in each pose. So instead of fidgeting around a lot to continue to shift or change the pose, I'll just hold. And try to bring my mind into stillness and really let the breath be the only thing that's moving and shaping the posture. Okay. I'm going to release the legs again, arms up overhead. One more time, taking a windshield wiper. If you wanted to this time let your knees lay to one side, you could spend a moment with the knees to one side. As you do that, you can draw your the inside knee towards the floor. When you're ready, knees to center and then switch. Good. Bring your knees back to center. Okay, so we've made our way to Shavasana now. I like to leave you guys to practice Shavasana on your own, so feel free to, if there's any last poses you want to take to finish up your own practice, go ahead. I'm feeling bright and energized after that this morning. I hope you are. Take a long rest. Feel free to check out other classes that I've put up on YouTube. There's a link in my bio to that. Again, classes are free, but if you want a Venmo, that's at Soul Shape Yoga. I look forward to seeing you guys throughout the next 30 days, potentially, of quarantine, more or less. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to drop me DMs if you have any suggestions or thoughts on classes or themes or topics you want to see taught. I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. More videos will be coming out weekly. We'll hope to see you again.